We wanted to get him on last week, but his lad wasn't very well, I don't think. We've got him on this week. Liam Lawrence joins us on Skype, I believe. Liam, you there, pal?
I am, yeah. Can you hear me?
You chilling, pal?
Yeah, just sat back, just relaxing.
Your lad's all right? He wasn't well last week, was he?
Yeah, no, he's all right. The other one's a little bit under the weather, though, but they'll be all right.
Okay, good stuff. Right, I want to chat to you about Stoke City. Made the decision. I know you watch a lot of the games. You write in the local paper in Stoke, the Stoke Sentinel, and you've been. Look, we did the first game of the season actually together, and on paper that day, I made the point. This is one of the best Championship teams I've seen, because on paper it was phenomenal. I thought they'd added a few good signings. Wasn't so sure about other ones, and subsequently they signed Ashley Williams and Martina from Everton, which I didn't particularly like, in addition going into a back four with Shawcross. But I think it's fair to say you've seen this coming in terms of Gary Rowett kind of leaving the building and a change needing to be made.
Yeah, obviously I've covered a lot over the last 16 months, doing the local comms on the radio and stuff. So since I've finished playing, I've managed to get down quite a lot. Look, whoever got the job when Rowett got it, I don't think they quite realised the task in hand. It's been in a downward spiral now for 2 years, and it's just not getting any better. I mean, Rowett had a spell just before Christmas where they went, I think it was 10 unbeaten, and you're sort of thinking, right, okay, they've turned a corner, if you like, but the wheels came off at Christmas and just after, and he ended up getting the chop. So they turned towards Nathan Jones, and his first 2 games in charge have not gone as expected.
No, Liam, bring us back a couple of years ago, because I would have seen you at games when I would go and commentate on the Premier League games on a Saturday, and I was critical of Stoke, and where I was critical of was the way the club had gone from when Tony Pulis was in charge. You knew exactly what way the team would play, like it, not like it. The players were brought in to play in a certain fashion. When Mark Hughes took over, I think there was a big outcry from fans to change the style of play. I don't think it ever worked, and in particular during that time, some of the recruitment made by the club, by the manager, exactly how that works out in terms of the strength of the manager towards the board and recruitment areas, I'm not entirely sure. But the recruitment over that sustained period, they have wasted a serious amount of money, haven't they?
They have, and you go back to what you were first saying about the identity of the club. I remember when we played yous when you was at Blackburn, in our first year in the Premier League, and we were sort of a horrible place to go, weren't we? And you never really looked forward to coming and playing us. And over the years, they just seem to go away from that identity, if you like. And I suppose you've got to be careful what you wish for as supporters sometimes. You want to see, everyone wants to see attacking, free-flowing football, but to go away from that Stoke mould, and as they've gradually done that over the years, teams are now coming to Stoke, and it's not like they're thinking how they used to think. They just can roll up now and play their own way. They don't have to worry about what Stoke are doing, and we've seen it week in, week out now. Teams are just coming to Stoke and turning Stoke over. They're so soft in the underbelly, it's untrue.
So in terms of Gary Rowett, then, the way he went about it, the signings he made, I remember again going back to the first game of the season. You were saying, no, I'm not quite sure about this right from the off. You had clearly identified. You'd seen a bit of him in pre-season as well, I think, and wasn't quite right. Gary Rowett's come out in the last couple of days. I think he did an interview with somewhere in England, a radio station, and he's basically saying, he was very disappointed in some of the players in terms of how they adapted to playing in the Championship, and basically some of them didn't want to be there.
No, some of the, going back to what you said again, some of the signings that they've made have been poor, and not just this year, but over the last 2 or 3 years. I don't think they've done their homework on the sort of characters they're getting in the building. I mean, that's what Tony Pulis was an expert at. He did so much homework on players and their family life and what sort of character they were. I just don't think that's the case anymore, and it's the people above management that have got to be held accountable now. So they keep doing it. So
it's the Coates family. Son took over in the last year or two, didn't he, to relinquish some of the responsibility from Peter Coates. So where does it lie in terms of the recruitment? Do you know what type of role there is, or is the manager allowed to be heavily involved? Because you look at someone like James McClean, I know for a fact Gary Rowett wanted him at Derby. That didn't happen. So he clearly wanted James in the building, got that one done. But does the manager have sole responsibility?
I don't think at Stoke they do anymore. I mean, I know Tony Pulis used to sign. They used to be his players. He'd make the signings. I know when I signed, I went and met him and we were face to face. There was no chief exec involved. You know, they just sort of did that with the agents. You know, all that business, what goes on there. But, you know, there's rumours now that I think it's the chief scout Cartwright and people around him that are bringing the signings to the manager and bringing players in the building, and it just hasn't worked at all.
Two managers in, I think it was the guts of 12 years between Tony Pulis, Mark Hughes, and then next of all, you've got, in the space of 12 months, including Eddie Nziki as the caretaker manager, 4 managers, all different traits, all different characters, all different ways of playing. So again, within that falls a couple of transfer windows. Nathan Jones comes in. You mentioned they lost their first 2 games against Brentford last week in the league, FA Cup against Shrewsbury. I know he made a lot of changes. How has that appointment been received by the Stoke fans?
They've actually sort of took it well. You know, it was a bit of a shock to the system at first, you know, with obviously the usual names getting touted around, Allardyce and Moyes and stuff. But the fans actually took it well. You know, they understand now that the club's in transition. For me, it has been for over a year, 2 years now. I think it needs to hit bottom, which I think it's doing now, and look up again, because, you know, there wasn't much known about Nathan Jones, if you like, at this level. He's obviously done a fantastic job in League 2 and League 1. There's no doubt about that. And the Luton fans couldn't speak highly enough of him. But, you know, this is Stoke City now. This is an ex-Premier League club. It's got a lot of expectation, and we'll see if he's up to the job.
Yeah. Like, what are the expectations? Nathan's someone I worked with at Brighton, and I really, really like him as a fella. And I'm with you in terms of the job that he's done at Luton and the way that they've played. Mentioned about the previous managers, Nathan will come in and want to play in a certain way, but I think he certainly recently he's favoured playing a diamond in midfield. I think we've just been chatting about it. I'm not quite sure where James McClean fits into that diamond, but that's another part. But in terms of the expectations, what are they of the fans?
Well, they want to be back in the Premier League. I know, like we've spoke about, the team on paper at the start of the season, everyone was saying they're going to win the league, they're going to get promoted, but I think there's that many problems underlying at the club, and there's such a dark cloud over the club, you know, the last 2 years. It's going to be very difficult, and it was always going to be difficult to do it in their first season back in the Champ. I mean, you know yourself, teams don't get promoted on paper, do they?
No.
Not from the Championship.
Where I mentioned there James in terms of the diamond. You know, he got left out of the first game against Brentford last Saturday. Where did he fit into that for you?
Well, I feel a little bit sorry for the lad, to be honest, because when he's come in under Rowett likes to play a 4-3-3, if you like. So McClean was sort of playing as a left forward.
Yeah.
But James McClean's been a left out-and-out winger all his career, isn't he? You stick him on the left wing, you know what you're going to get from him. And it's sort of square pegs round holes for me with poor old James. And, you know, the diamond coming in now, I don't see where he's going to fit into this. But for me, in the Championship, a diamond, I think it's a risk. You know, not many teams play a diamond, and I've not seen many teams get out of the league playing a diamond. Before
you go, I just want to ask you about the scandal at Leeds, Mr. Bielsa. What were your thoughts on that?
Mate, to be fair to him, it's a breath of fresh air that he's just come out so openly and honest and said, yeah, I did it, so what? You know, but it's obviously upset Lampard and a few other people, but it's been going on for years. You know yourself, other managers know the other team. Sometimes on a Friday, players speak to their mates and things get out and get leaked, but to send someone to the training ground and hide in the trees, it's a new one for me, that.
I don't think Tony Pulis even did that, did he?
We once had someone trying to watch us at an away game. We were, I think it was a Tuesday, and we'd gone on a Tuesday morning out onto a pitch at a hotel to do some shape, and there was some people watching. So Pulis stopped the session, sent two of the coaches over, and these people wouldn't leave. So he storms over and sort of gives them a bit of stick, and then they soon left. Like
that doesn't surprise me. Liam, listen, thanks for taking the call, pal. We'll touch in with you again soon.
No problem. Thank
Cheers,
you,
pal.